everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. It's Monday, so we have our mystery case card to play with today. So if you've collected your supplies already, you're going to have a regular standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5, another piece of 5.25 by 4. Now I didn't say whether to have thick or standard cardstock. You could do it on either. Where you need a clear block, which I have, you need an aqua painter or a spritzer. I said to choose 2 or 3 coordinating colors and to have either the markers or the re-inkers. We're going to use markers for this today. An ink pad of one of those colors and a stamp set with images and sentiments. So I'm using Forever Fern. And I'm going to tell you that this is one of the new stamp sets, and I really love the Designer Series paper that came with this. So when choosing my colors, I went to the Designer Series paper on the back, and the colors that they used were Garden Green, Just Jade, Pear Pizzazz, Pretty Peacock, Shaded Spruce, Soft Seafoam, and Whisper White. So those are the markers I went and pulled from my collection to choose my colors, okay, and then I whittled it down to 3 of those. Now, we don't have the Just Jade, well, I don't have the Just Jade marker or ink yet because we couldn't pre-order it, but as of the catalog, you could order them. So, you may have them in your collection, but probably not yet. So, let's go ahead and do our card. So, we're going to be doing a watercolor technique, obviously, but this one's kind of fun. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take our clear block, and I'm going to bring an extra piece of messy mess mat, just so that my crafting area doesn't get too messed up. And I'm going to take my clear block. Now you can use any size clear block. I've chosen to use one of the larger ones. And I'm going to just draw my ink straight onto my block. I'm starting with the lightest color I've chosen, and I'm going to ink up as much of the block, all of the block, or a section of the block, depending on how much of this effect you want on a card, but I'm actually going to use the whole thing for the sample here. So I've inked the whole thing up with the lightest color. Then I take the next color, these two happen to be dark, but if you have the next lightest or step them up in tone, that's what you want to do. Now you can put however you want on here. I'm kind of doing lines with that one, and then I'm moving on to Pretty Peacock. I'm going to kind of put splotches in here of the Pretty Peacock. So there's really no rhyme or reason. Every time I do a card like this, it's going to be different. Now, you can take your aqua painter if you wanted. You could drip water on there, or you could paint it with your aqua painter and move it around. But I'm actually going to spritz it. So I just have water in my spritzer. I'm going to spritz it now. The more water you add, the more it's going to move around. So just a little bit more. Now you might even be able to pick up your block, depending on how much you have on there, and tip it, and you can see that water run and make fun droplets, or you can see the ink kind of expand out. So I have that all inked up. I'm going to put my front of my card, my 5.25 by 4, on my grid paper. I'm using my grid to square it off, okay? And I'm going to carefully flip this over and then apply it to my paper. So I'm going to flip this over. Okay, it might drip, but it didn't, luckily. And I'm going to put it straight across. And then I'm just setting it down. See how that water and the ink grab the cardstock? You can see through the block how it kind of melds. You can see where it's wetter and where it's drier. I kind of let it sit there for a minute. You might even want to give it a little push, but I just kind of let it sit and absorb into the paper. And then I lift it off. And look, it's all transferred over. So that's kind of a fun, unique background. Like I said, every time you do it, it's going to be different. How you apply the ink, it's going to be different. So now you can let that dry a little bit, or you can just keep on working on it. So like I said, I'm using Forever Fern. So I'm going to use this Love and Laughter Forever After as my sentiment. And I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to stamp it right kind of below that blocked off section. Okay, and then here's where my images come in. I'm going to use 3 different leaves. You could use as many or as few as you want. I'm going to use 3 different ones, and I'm using the Shaded Spruce, which was one of my 3 colors. I'm going to add some stamped images. Now, there's not really a whole lot of rhyme or reason. I just kind of want to space them out. I don't know that I actually want to overlap them so much. I want them to kind of have open space. And I'm going to use this smaller one, so let's see. Could use one maybe here and there. That's good. Okay, so then this stamp set also comes with one that's kind of got these dotted background, just kind of a filler. I'm going to add that kind of right over that techniqued background. Just to add a little more. So you could do that if you had something similar. So there is my front of my card. So now we just have our card base. And now you can add this however you want. I'm going to put it on dimensional just because I want to pop it a little bit. I'm going to add a couple for the center because I did use thin cardstock, so I really wanted to have some support. So it pops off the top. Now if you wanted to trim this front panel down smaller, if you're working with a smaller imaged stamp set, you could certainly make it framed in with a larger edge. But I thought better to start with something bigger and work smaller than say work really small and then you need something bigger. So there is a starting point, and just like that, the card's done. See? That was pretty easy. And then if you have your envelopes, I would just stamp something similar, right? You have your images, just dress up your envelope a little, and there we have our mystery card. So pretty simple, right? And think. Lots of different variations on that. Now when I was playing with this idea, right, I have a couple others I can share with you. I did the same idea of the block with the ink, but this one I turned on its side. This one I went all the way across again, and this one I actually used more than 3 colors, so you can see a little more variegation in the color. And then this one I only used the end of the block to kind of give it a stamp thing, and then I kind of went around it. So there's lots of different options. Plus we have lots of different size blocks. So pick a block you want to work with, and the colors you want to work with, and the stamps that you want to work with, and you give it a try this week. So I'd love to see what you're doing. Remember, you can email them to me. Just snap a photo and email it to me at susan@pumpkinhillstampers.com. I will add your name to your photo before I share it, and I'll share it at the end of the week when the next clues come out. So I hope you're enjoying Let's Play Along with my mystery case this week, and if you need any help placing orders from the new catalog, please contact me, and I will do my best to answer questions and to get it going for you. Alright guys, enjoy the mystery, enjoy getting a little bit messy this week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.